Hey, soul survivors, we're going to talk about narcissistic hoovering. What causes it? What is it? Are they going to come back to us? Do they love the new supply? So, narcissistic hoovering, that refers to a manipulative tactic that people with narcissistic personality disorder use to regain control and manipulate their previous partners or targets. So, narcissists may resort to hoovering for various reasons, and these are things such as loss of control. Narcissists crave power and control in their relationship. So when a former partner starts to move on or establish independence, the narcissist may feel a loss of control over them. Hoovering is an attempt to regain control and reestablish dominance. A lot of times when you start healing, that's when they're going to start to come back. Narcissists constantly seek attention, admiration, and validation from others, and that is what is known as narcissistic supply. If a former partner provided a significant source of supply, the narcissist may hoover them to replenish their ego, also their self-esteem. Narcissists have an intense fear of being abandoned or rejected. So when a former partner begins to distance themselves or move on, it triggers the narcissist's fear, leading them to engage in hoovering behaviors to prevent the abandonment and to maintain the relationship. They also have a need for validation, superiority. They have an inflated sense of self-importance and believe they are superior to others. Hoovering allows them to reinforce their grandiose self-image by eliciting a response from the target that affirms their perceived superiority. That's why a lot of times too, when you're contacting them, if you have an anxious attachment style, you're already feeding their ego. They don't fear a loss because you're saying, I'm here, I want to work it out. So just be aware of that you back off. It's only going to hurt yourself. They're not going to reply to you most of the time. So it's important to note that hoovering is often manipulative and also very harmful, and they may employ various strategies to lure you back in to the relationship, such as that love bombing, guilt tripping, playing on your emotions, or making false promises of change. However, these behaviors are often temporary and aimed at reestablishing control rather than for the genuine personal growth. Now, the timing of hoovering, it can vary depending on the narcissist's personality, the circumstances, and their perception of the target's vulnerability. Common situations that may trigger hoovering include some type of life change or a change in their relationship with the new supply. Hoovering attempts may occur when the narcissist becomes aware of significant changes in the target's life, such as starting a new relationship, achieving personal success, or experiencing a vulnerable period, such as a loss or an illness. Maybe during a death of a family member, they would see you as emotionally weak, and it would be their foot in the door to tug at your heartstrings. Narcissists may exploit moments when the target is emotionally vulnerable, such as after a breakup or loss, or even just a challenging life event. They like to capitalize on these situations to manipulate the target's emotions and regain control. Now, when a narcissist perceives a threat, known as a narcissistic injury, to their self-esteem or ego, such as being rejected or criticized, they can respond with hoovering to regain a sense of superiority and also validate their self-image. Now, in some cases, narcissists may treat their new supply better than they treated their previous partner. This phenomenon can be attributed to several factors. During that idealization phase, the narcissist typically goes through this phase at the beginning of the relationship. And during this stage, they often present themselves as charming, attentive, affectionate. They can shower their new supply with love, attention, gifts, making them feel special and desired. Now, this phase is aimed at gaining the new supply's trust and admiration, as well as establishing a sense of control over them. So there's a cycle of abuse. They often pretty much every narcissist will follow a cycle of abuse, which includes phases of idealization, devaluation, and discard. After devaluing and discarding their previous partner, they may feel a sense of emptiness or a need for validation. They may then seek out a new supply. A lot of times it overlaps too, and repeat the cycle. They do it by beginning with that idealization phase, and they can create an illusion that they are treating the new supply better, at least in the beginning. Now, the manipulation and facade. They are skilled manipulators who excel at presenting themselves in a favorable light. They tailor their behavior to suit the desires and needs of the new supply in the beginning. Now, this manipulation allows them to create an image of being a perfect partner, which can make the new supply believe that they are being treated exceptionally well. But we need to recognize that this initial treatment is often a facade and part of their manipulation tactics. Once a new supply becomes more attached and invested in the relationship, the narcissist's true colors may begin to emerge. As the relationship progresses, the narcissist often reverts back to their initial their patterns of devaluation, manipulation, and control. And discard sometimes is a full breakup. Discard is sometimes just kind of like emotionally detaching. It's crucial that you understand that this pattern of treating new supplies better is not a reflection of the narcissist's ability to genuinely change or improve their behavior. Instead, it's a strategy to secure that control, gain validation, and to continue their cycle of needing this narcissistic supply. So when a narcissist communicates at an emotional level, their thought processes and motivations can differ from those of individuals with healthy emotional connections. So here are some key aspects. They lack genuine empathy. They often struggle to empathize with others on an emotional level. That's why when you try to connect with them, they detach. They often have difficulty understanding or validating the feelings and experiences of those around them. So instead, they focus on their needs and desires and self-image. They use a lot of emotional manipulation when communicating emotionally. A narcissist may strategically use emotions to manipulate and control others. They exploit emotions to gain sympathy, elicit a specific response, or redirect the focus onto themselves. Their intent is to maintain their sense of superiority and control over the conversation or relationship. Narcissists are adept at recognizing and exploiting the vulnerabilities of others. They may intentionally target emotional triggers such as insecurities or past traumas to gain power or manipulate the emotions of their targets. This allows them to keep the focus on themselves and maintain their perceived superiority. Narcissists frequently engage in gaslighting, which is a manipulative tactic that involves distorting or denying another person's reality, emotions, or experiences. They may invalidate or dismiss the emotions expressed by their partners or targets, making them question their own feelings and perceptions. This further reinforces the narcissist's control and undermines the emotional well-being of the other person. They use emotional deflection. When they struggle with their own emotions and avoid taking responsibility, when they are faced with emotional conversations or criticism, they may deflect the blame onto others, deny their own wrongdoing, or project their negative emotions onto the partner or target. This allows them to avoid accountability and maintain their inflated self-image. Not all individuals with narcissistic traits or NPD exhibit the same behavior because the disorder does exist on a spectrum, but these patterns are commonly observed in narcissistic individuals during emotional communication. And you see it all across the board, how many people have this, it's almost like the same story, just a different person. And how often or when will they return to the old supply and will it last? The frequency with which a narcissist returns to an old supply can vary on individual circumstances, the dynamics of the relationship, and specific traits of the narcissist. While it is possible for them to return to a previous partner or old supply, it's important to understand that these cycles of breaking up and reuniting are often a part of a manipulative pattern rather than genuine attempts at reconciliation. So you have to consider the hoovering cycles, also the idealization and devaluation cycles, lack of genuine change, that the narcissists typically lack the genuine capacity for self-reflection, empathy, and sustained personal growth. Their patterns of behavior, including manipulation, grandiosity, lack of empathy, tend to persist over time. So while a narcissist may promise change or temporarily alter their behavior during the reconciliation phase, it's often short-lived and likely to revert back to their established patterns. Now, individual circumstances, the likelihood of a narcissist returning to an old supply can be influenced by several factors, such as even the availability of other sources of narcissistic supply, their perceived vulnerability, receptiveness of the previous partner, and the narcissist's own emotional needs. Every situation is unique, but when it comes to the narcissist and their new supply, here are some key points. The idealization phase is often rooted in a desire to establish, control, gain admiration, and just to seek narcissistic supply. It's not necessarily to love the person. Narcissists often objectify people, including their romantic partners. They view this new supply as an extension of themselves, an object to be controlled and used to meet their own needs. Their focus is often on how the new supply enhances their self-image or fulfills their desires, rather than on forming a mutual, empathetic, and loving connection. They just had that lack of empathy, which is a crucial component of love, and it's lacking in narcissists. So do they have a better connection? It's the same. There's no empathy, and without the empathy, it's self-serving and toxic. So it takes time to unfold, but if they come back, they have that cycle, and it's hard to develop empathy unless you're willing to heal your inner child and be true about who you are, what your intentions are. And they're too afraid of abandonment, but they cause abandonment. And it's interesting that a lot of times you will create what you fear. So if you fear abandonment, because of that fear, you're going to latch on too tight, and it's going to push somebody away. It's interesting how the mind works with what you fear and the way that we use self-talk, mindfulness. If you found this helpful, please comment below, share if it would help somebody that you know. One-on-ones are available, and I'll see you soon.